Test 1 2. What's up, fam? We will start the show in just a few minutes. Does anybody know what city we are in this morning? I appreciate you guys joining us on our Monday remote show. A lot to talk about today, including J.J. Finch, who committed to Alabama, defensive lineman. Got Roman Voss, right, out of Minnesota, who will be deciding today. Got Owen Cabell, wide receiver out of Tennessee, who was just recently in Tuscaloosa and looks like he could be committing to Alabama, an elite wide receiver. Xavier Crowell, Sadarian Morgan, those two visited in Tuscaloosa recently. The impact of Coach Saban, right, back on campus in Jethamala, committed recently. What's up, fam? I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate you guys joining me on our Monday show. Can anybody name where we're at? All right. Took a couple days off. I think it's important for everybody to take a couple days off. So I appreciate you guys giving me some grace. Feel good, feel rested. Does anybody know what city that we are in today? It's one of America's great cities. Sound off inside the comment box. As mentioned, I wanted to talk to you guys about a couple things, and I'll be back in Tuscaloosa tonight, and we'll continue our Tuesday, normal time at 10 a.m. Central Time, all right? I appreciate you guys. I missed you guys, right? Missed you guys. Been, a couple days, but I needed a little bit of rest and recharge, right? The summertime is for that. Okay, look, J.J. Finch jumped on board recently. He's a commitment, a defensive lineman, and I think when you look to defensive linemen, 6'2", 270 pounds, and I know that Titan Davis has been predicted elsewhere, and people have been talking a lot about the defensive line and criticizing Coach Freddie Roach for saying that he can't get an elite defensive lineman. I don't know. I disagree with that. I think that Alabama, you look at who they have right now, Kamarion Johnson, you have J.J. Finch, committed at this point in time. It's kind of about the long game, but also I think that defensive line is very difficult. And you have to look at the depth chart and where things are floating around with Alabama's current defensive lineman. Is that a high priority? Yeah, it's always a high priority, right? Defensive lineman. But I think, you have some younger cats who are going to rise on the board, and sometimes you need to delegate your resources elsewhere. And I'm not saying that J.J. Finch in any way is like just kind of a take. I mean, like a low-key take. I think this is a good take. And the thing is sometimes people get so caught up in the 3-star ranking. I would just slow down about some of these rankings. I mean, if you look at the offer list, who was after Finch, I mean, it's an elite caliber. So sometimes these guys can be underrated. I'm always going to point to other 3-stars that have outperformed once they have, arrived and committed to Alabama, right? I mean, I can name a couple right now just off the top of my head. Actually, you name a couple 3-stars. I'll name some right now. I think like Lazier Brooks. You imagine? Lazier Brooks, a 3-star. I think Josh Jacobs was a 3-star. So J.J. Finch, I'm not really worried about, the rankings, but you got to get the guys in. You got to get developing them. And let me ask you this. Do you think that Freddie Roach has done a good job developing guys with defensive line? I would argue yes. So I wouldn't throw shade at him. I think that they're doing a good job, and it is another quality commit. And I would imagine that more commitments are coming very soon. As you know, I've been following, recruiting the last couple of weeks has been really hot, and Tuscaloosa is certainly about to heat up even more, this week. So stay tuned because there'll be news happening all over the place. All right. I don't think anybody has gotten the location yet this morning. There was just a huge barge that rolled through. I'm telling you, this barge that rolled through, it was crazy. I don't know if you could still see it in the back over here. I almost tripped on this thing. But yeah, it was a huge barge that rolled through. Here's looks like some sort of construction ship or something. Roman Voss. All right, he is committing today between Alabama and Minnesota. Now, he's the number 1 player in the state of Minnesota. I watched his highlights this morning. He's 6'4", 230 pounds. He plays like in a cornfield. And, this dude is legit. I don't know if he plays tight end, if he comes to Alabama, what they'll do with him. If he does commit to Alabama, of course, he could stay in Minnesota. I'm not sure. So, hey, Army 32, 75, you got it, man. Savannah, Georgia. Yeah, Savannah, Georgia. But Roman Voss will be committing today. Where do you guys think that Voss will end up? inside the comment box. Do you think that he's going to be Alabama, or do you think that he will stay in Minnesota? Sound off inside the comment box. One athlete to watch, and I believe that's going on today. You know, two prospects that were in town recently. You have Xavier Crowell and Sadarian Morgan. I think this was one of the high points of this whole recruiting month, right? The summer rain is having these guys in town. And one of the things that, you know, you have to sell a guy like Xavier Crowell on is, how is he going to fit into this program? And I think that under the new offense with Ryan Grubb, I think sometimes we get caught up and we're like, man, the quarterback, the wide receivers, and we forget about the running backs. Yo, the running backs here for Alabama will be fed 100%. Like, I think sometimes we're just excited about points, but if you want to have an offense that is absolutely elite, you need to have usage of your running backs. So this year will be a prime example of how Alabama utilizes their running backs under Ryan Grubb. And I think Jam Miller's going to eat. I think Richard Young's going to eat. And I'm saying that because when you look to next year, you're going to need to take two running backs, right? Because I know Alabama's also in play for another running back, and they've been forecasted. Someone put his name inside the comment box. But I think you get two running backs, and the thing is, because you're going to lose two running backs, right? You're going to lose Jam Miller and Draylen Washington. You're going to need to add two running backs. Of course, Xavier Crowell will be one of the crown jewels in this class, of course, because he's an in-state guy and he's an elite running back. But you sell him on this vision of, yo, this is how we're going to use you, but also follow the blueprint for this coming year, and that's how we're going to utilize you in the offense. So I would expect him to commit to Alabama. I think it would be shocking to everyone if Xavier Crowell goes elsewhere. I know he's been to Texas. I know he's been to Georgia, but I would be utterly shocked if he does not pick the Crimson Tide. So he will be announcing this week. Is there anyone out there that thinks that Crowell might go somewhere else? Let me know inside the comment box. I think that you got a really good running back coming in this week. Okay. Let's talk about Sadarian Morgan. Sadarian Morgan, 6'4", 220-pound wide receiver, okay? You can't throw around comparisons to greats all the time. But I think in this particular case, and I don't know, I mean, maybe this is a bad take. I don't know. But from like a high school standpoint, Sadarian Morgan, just because of his size and what he's able to do, kind of gives me like Julio Jones-esque vibes. This guy is, I would say, a must-get in this class. And if you get, let's say, the wide receiver out of Nashville, Owen Cabell, you get in Sadarian Morgan, who, by the way, has just been predicted to commit to Alabama, that is one hell of a slam dunk at wide receiver, right? So you could be getting 2 5-stars this week, right? See, I mean, King Riz is saying 95%, on Crowell. And I think with Sadarian Morgan, am I off base with the comparison to Julio? Look, Julio is like the guy. He is the greatest, okay? But in terms of like the size, shit, man, this guy is like out of the state, complete baller. I can't even imagine having to deal with this guy as a high school athlete. So if he commits, that will be a gigantic slam dunk for Kalen DeBoer, for Courtney Morgan, Jamarcus Shepard. And, these guys, look, he could have gone anywhere. He could have made whatever he wanted. And if anybody comes and says that Alabama's broke or something like that, no, they're not broke. You're not going to be broke and be able to get Crowell, be able to get Sadarian Morgan, be able to get Jet Thamala, right? Some of the other guys that are predicted in this class, like they have enough that has nothing to do with it. And they will be able to get these guys onto the field in the future, probably sooner than later. And I was thinking about the wide receiver position, man, think about it. Look, you're going to have Jeremy Bernard and you're going to have Isaiah Horton. These guys are going to exit out, right, after this season. So you imagine Ryan Williams, you imagine Jalen Hill, you imagine Lazier Brooks, you imagine Sadarian Morgan, you imagine Derek Meadows, Jalen Mbakwe, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, man, that is the wide receiver room is unbelievable, right? I appreciate you guys checking me out this morning. If you guys missed it, I already said where I'm at. This is Savannah. I'm passing through Savannah today, so I figured I'd stop by the historic district and do my morning show from over here. So, and I might pop on tonight depending on the news that happens. I'll be back later on today, and then of course on Tuesday we'll be back at 10 a.m. But it took a little bit of time for myself. You know, unfortunately, I just had I got a couple more things to talk about before I break out. But unfortunately, I had a relative pass away. Let's see, on Friday. And man, that it sucked. It was one of my dad's brothers. And, you know, I went back to his Facebook page. He lived in Oklahoma. And I went back to his Facebook page, and he had posted a lot of the videos that I post on the Facebook channel. And it sucks, man. You know, life is always fleeting. And yeah, I know you guys have gone through hard things. I have too. It's just that's life. But I think, you know, the end of life, you know, it's like, man, really upset about that. And, you know, thoughts and prayers, you know, to his 4 kids that he has. So he was living in Altus, Oklahoma, if anybody knows where that is. So anyways, that was a tough one. But you know, I think kind of getting back on track here, one of the things that I really wanted to highlight, and this was really incredible, is this was probably, I think what I'm about to talk about is probably the most marquee thing that's happened recruiting-wise since Courtney Morgan, all right? I got 94 on here. If I could get 94 thumbs up, 100 thumbs up on here, I appreciate it. Super chats, greatly appreciated. But you guys being here means a lot, so thank you so much. The biggest thing that happened, okay, with this gigantic weekend in Tuscaloosa was Nick Saban being back on campus. Nick Saban being back at campus, you are bringing out the absolute guns, right? You are bringing out the big dog, the greatest college football coach ever, who's clearly still invested in Alabama, clearly invested in Alabama football recruiting. He is the GOAT. And I think having him here and seeing pictures, I mean, do you think it's coincidental that you have pictures of Coach Saban with Crowell, pictures with Sadarian Morgan, and then just 24 hours after, everyone puts in a prediction for Sadarian Morgan to commit to Alabama? Do you think that's coincidental? Or do you think that Coach Saban is meeting with these guys and telling them about the vision of Coach Kalen DeBoer, about the pride and tradition that still exists under Coach Kalen DeBoer, right? I don't think Sadarian Morgan, I mean, just like, I think he was probably going to commit to Alabama, but I think that with Coach Saban kind of behind these guys, and think about this, right? Coach Saban, because, you know, Kalen DeBoer, he just went through his first year, and there's a lot of people that are going to try to provide negative thoughts inside people's mind, reverse recruiting, right? Coach Kalen DeBoer can't get it done, blah, blah. But if you hear Coach Saban backing Kalen DeBoer, if you hear Coach Saban backing Courtney Morgan, if you hear Coach Saban backing Ryan Grubb and the football program, him still being a presence, that is something to be excited about. And that is, if you're a parent, think about this. If you're a parent of Sadarian Morgan, if you're a parent of Crowell, if you're a parent of any of these other prospects that got to meet with Coach Saban, and you were kind of thinking about Coach Kalen DeBoer, and you have Coach Saban be like, no, this is the guy. This is still part of the process. Even though I'm not the head football coach anymore, and it's fully Coach Kalen DeBoer's process, I am the guy that believes in Coach DeBoer. So if I can believe in Coach Kalen DeBoer, so can you, and this is still a great fit for your son to play football. You see what I'm saying? I thought that was monumental. I didn't honestly expect that. I know that the university is still paying him. I think it's like $500,000 a year, which probably is, they could probably pay him more because he built the city, right? But man, I love the fact that Coach Saban was here, and it's not Coach Saban's program anymore. It's not his organization. He's there, you know, in a support role, if even that. He does have an office at the university, but I just think him, you know, being there and giving the supportive message to get behind Coach Kalen DeBoer, I thought that was hella impactful, and I love to see it, man. I thought that was probably one of the biggest moments. And there's no other program in the country that has been built by Nick Saban. You see what I'm saying? So Coach Saban still has Alabama, and I love to see it. All right. Jet them all. You got your quarterback in, right? Once you get your quarterback in the class, and I think Alabama, I'm pretty sure they're going to take two quarterbacks, right? I don't know who the second quarterback will be, but getting Jet Damala in and getting him to flip from Iowa State to Alabama, I still think is very impactful, right? Last year, when Keelan Russell came on board, that was huge for the overall class. And one of these prospects that commits this week is going to break the levee in terms of the guys that are going to ultimately start recruiting, right? You're going to have a wave of recruits soon. I don't know who it'll be, some Darian Morgan or probably Crowell, right? He'll probably be the guy to break the levee. But Jet Mullet is a critical piece in this class. I love the fact that they're going to take two quarterbacks. At first, I didn't understand why, but now I understand why. I mean, Ty Simpson's going to go, and Alabama has always had 4 or more quarterbacks on its roster, right? So getting Jet Mullet, let me ask you this. Who do you think will be the additional quarterback in this class? Do you think it'll be Matt Ponatowski? Do you think it'll be Bryson Beaver, Caden Tawa, right? Or do you think it'll be somebody else? I don't know. But right now, Alabama will take 2 prospects in the class of 2026. So just a couple things, this morning to get us going. I know there's a ton of news that is going to happen this week, and I'm excited for it. We've been waiting, and I know J.J. Finch committed this last weekend, which I thought is a good commitment. But that's not the levee breaker, okay? No disrespect to him, but there's going to be some guys that are commit shortly, and that recruiting class is going to start to heat up. So you might see it inside, other message boards or out there that this program can't recruit or this and that or wherever they're at in the recruiting class. Don't buy it, because pretty soon Alabama is going to be up there, if not the top 10, probably even higher. And I think still at the end of the day, Alabama will probably finish within a top 5 class at the lowest, right? So big things on the horizon. I would keep close to all your recruiting sites this week as news happens. And I think it's going to be a very impactful, really next 2 weeks. So I appreciate you guys for rocking with me. I am, I'll be back in Tuscaloosa tonight. I might pop on the show depending on, how I'm feeling. And then on Tuesday, we'll, be back at 10 a.m. Central Time. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you always for rocking with me, no matter where I'm at. Took a couple days just for myself and feel good. So I'm excited about where things stand and feel rested, recharged. And I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Coming to you from beautiful Savannah, Georgia on this fine Monday, June 23rd. Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Good news on its way, always, when you cover Alabama football. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll catch up with you soon or as news happens. See ya.